Welcome to A Happy Adult. I am so proud that you've decided to join me again today because that means you want to be a happier adult. Remember, I can give you the tools, but you will eventually be the one that needs to put them into effect. Today we're talking about anxiety. So anxiety is one of those things that people often think that it's just them or just a few people that have anxiety. Actually, there are many people that have at least some form of anxiety. But what happens is many of them don't let that anxiety win. And that's our biggest thing, is we do not want to let that anxiety win. So what does it mean to let that anxiety win? Well, when you have a situation where you are stopping from doing something repeatedly, you are letting the anxiety win, because eventually you'll go further and further into your own little world and separate out from society until the point where you become agoraphobic, where you don't even leave the house, or you lose relationships because of the fact that you aren't able to push past the little box that you've put yourself in. So what do? How do we fix this? Well, first of all, you've got to start even before that anxiety attack happens. So here are some of the things that you can do that will help you before you get into that situation. Exercise. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go out and run 3 miles every day. Do some gentle yoga. Walk. Just walk. Walk around the neighborhood. Walk in your house. Do some weights, some light weights. Anything that you can do that gets the body moving will help. If it is extreme, you need to go to a therapist. You need to talk about whatever issues are getting into the way of your anxiety. You need to possibly get some medication for a while. Deal with your issues. Deal with childhood trauma. Deal with any kind of things that are holding you back. Now, that doesn't always need to be going to a therapist, but it can be. It can be talking to a friend. It can be journaling. It can be a multitude of other things that help you deal with any of the issues that you have that help with adding to the anxiety, but maybe are not the anxiety themselves. So what else can you do to help with anxiety? Have a plan. Have a plan. If you know that you are going to be going into a very stressful situation, and you know that that's something that normally triggers your anxiety, have a plan for after. So it might be, you know what, I'm going to go drive on the 210 freeway, but when I get to the place that I want to go, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to take care of myself when I'm there. Something that you really enjoy. So plan ahead what you're going to do so that you can get through that anxiety part to get to the fun stuff. If you have a situation where you are going out with friends and you are concerned that you're not going to get there if you don't have, even though you know it's something that's super important. Well, this is the thing. Have your friends pick you up. Have your friends pick you up. Because once they pick you up, then you're there. It's the getting there that's the biggest issue. So I have to make sure I'm hitting everything. Sleep. Get good sleep. Don't try to do the whole I'm going to stay up 24 hours a day and then right before a stressful event. Don't let the stress of before the event get you to where you're not sleeping. So sometimes people like stress 3 days before their actual anxiety event. It isn't happening yet. You can't let that get you. You got to take time, meditate if you can meditate. Some people can't meditate at first. It takes a while to get your brain into that mode. But if you try yoga, then that might help you then move into meditation. And I'm not talking the hot yoga. You can do that too if you want to, but I'm just talking about maybe some stretching. So if you're not ready for full yoga, do some stretching. Do stuff to take care of your body. Learn how to breathe. So we all think, oh, I know how to breathe. But there are deep diaphragmatic breathing that will help you to get before the event, and they will help you during an event to actually get your body into a relaxed state. So good way of when you breathe, you take a deep breath in, and your diaphragm, which is underneath your stomach, which is almost down by your stomach, should expand. So a good way of practicing this is to lay down on the ground and put a book on your stomach. And if when you breathe that book doesn't move, then you're not doing it correctly. So learn how to do diaphragmatic breathing before you get to the event. So what do you do when you're there? Okay, so what do you do when you're at that party, or you're on that freeway, or you're in that situation? So there are multiple things you can do. First of all, be aware of your body right before. You don't want it to get into a full-fledged panic attack. What you want to do is try to combat it when it's at the early stages. And what that means is being mindful of what your body is doing all the time. And that's a hard thing to get into, but once you get used to it, you become more aware, and it'll help you with a bunch of different things. So, what can you do? Well, if you are going to a social situation and you have problems with that, you can do what I used to do. I used to go in and look for someone who looked more awkward or uncomfortable than I was. And as a kind, caring person, I would then go up to that person and start to talk. Look around. See what you can see. That gets you out of your own mindset and gets you into looking at and looking for other people. And also realizing that you're not alone. You're not the only one that feels uncomfortable in that situation. Okay, so do that. Look for someone who's more awkward than you are. Do the breathing I talked to you about. The deep breathing, self-talk. Tell yourself, I'm okay. This is just a situation I'm going to get out of. I will get through this just fine. Others have been in this situation and they've gotten through it just fine. I have conquered every single situation I have been through like this. Every situation. So when you have that mindset, you're gonna be doing better. And again, that breathing technique is huge. So the another thing is, if you're on the freeway, music sometimes helps. So look for sensory clues. So this is one of the things that counselors often say is get yourself in that mindful situation. So what are 5 things I see? What are 5 things I hear? What are 5 things I can taste? What are 5 things I can feel? And when you're in that situation, your mind now has shifted gears, and it doesn't say, who's judging me? I can't breathe. What am I doing? Why am I here? It switches that to a mindful, what am I feeling right now situation. Again, that's good to add with that diaphragmatic breathing. It's great to add with the self-talk. So another thing that you can do is tapping. So tapping is a technique, and if you look up tapping has specific methods that you can use. Now, I don't use all of them. I just use some, because some of them would be kind of awkward and make me feel even more uncomfortable in a situation, because they have you tap here and then tap here and then tap here and and tap here, and that would make me really more uncomfortable. So some of the things, sometimes I'll do this, right, which is like a tapping. So again, it gets my brain going, okay, what am I doing right now? What are my sensory, right? Or I might tap here because it's not as awkward to tap at your wrist, because then it's like nobody goes, okay, why are they tapping at your wrist? You can do it underneath a table. You can do it just really casual. Rub your arms. And people might ask if you're cold, and that's fine. You can go, oh no, I had an itch or whatever. It doesn't matter. But that again gets your sensory. And practice these techniques before you have a situation. If you can, visualize something positive attached to that technique. So for example, if your technique is I'm going to tap my wrist, when you're visualize something really good that happened while you're tapping the wrist. So it might be petting your dog. It might be a great event that happened, something soothing. Do that. Another thing is, because we talked about sensory, so another thing is the sense of smell is very, very strong. So if you can find maybe a chapstick or a perfume or something that is very relaxing smelling, then you can use that when you're in an anxious or headed toward an anxious state, because nobody is going to judge when you take that chapstick out of your purse or out of your pocket and put it on. They're not going to go, oh, why are you putting on chapstick, right? So you don't have to, so there won't be any additional anxiety attached to it. It will just be a really positive. Or you can smell your arm, or you can have it on your clothes or whatever. It's whatever works for you. We are all individuals, and we all deal with our stresses and anxiety differently. I said at the beginning, don't let it win. Put yourself in the stressful situations. Put yourself there. It's hard. I know it's hard. But if you continuously say, I'm not going to put myself in any stressful situation, then you're not going to be living life. You're not going to ultimately be happy, because you're going to have to give up a lot of different things. Have a reward for after. Monitor your own feelings. Use your techniques, but get through it, because every time you get through it, that's another win. Every time you get through it, the anxiety will creep back a little bit more, and your world will open a little bit more. Once you are through it, it's okay to take some time to rebuild yourself. It's okay to just go, I need this afternoon to just be away from everything because I got through that. You might need to rebuild, and that's okay. That's okay. Face it, win against it, rebuild. Take the time. Hopefully this helps you guys. As I said, I'm doing this for you guys. I really want to help make you guys happier adults. Thank you so much for joining me. You are strong enough to get through anything that this week throws at you. Sending much love.